Have you ever wondered what it means to call a deal an art form? Well, today we're cracking open a book that claims to have the answer, Donald Trump's 1987 bestseller, The Art of the Deal. Now, this isn't going to be a biography. Nope, we're looking at it for what it claims to be, a playbook. We're going to break down its core philosophy and the specific tactics it lays out. So let's dive in.
Right off the bat, the book hits you with this core idea. It totally reframes what deal-making is all about. See, it's not just a path to getting rich, it's presented as this high-stakes, creative act. The real prize isn't just the final paycheck, but the art of building something massive, seemingly out of nothing.
And this concept, that a deal is an art form, isn't just a clever line. It's the philosophical foundation for every single story and every tactic in the entire book. It's the mindset that fuels the whole playbook we're about to get into.
Yeah, so don't think of The Art of the Deal as just a collection of cool success stories. It's really a whole worldview, a unique lens for seeing business and negotiation. It's a playbook filled with rules and tactics for what it describes as a seriously competitive battlefield.
Okay, so how does all this big-picture philosophy actually work in the real world? Well, the book lays out what it calls elements of the deal. We're calling them the trump cards. This is where the abstract ideas get turned into practical and, let's be honest, pretty unconventional tactics.
The very first card you're supposed to play, think big. And look, according to the book, this is not your average, cheesy, motivational poster slogan. It's a core strategy. The logic goes that it's often actually easier to pull off something huge than something small, because a truly grand vision creates its own energy, its own buzz and momentum.
And a perfect example of this from the book, the purchase of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, we're talking about a massive 118-room estate. The book is super clear that it wasn't bought as some clever investment, but as a place to live. It's presented as the ultimate symbol of that think big philosophy, right? Always swing for the fences.
All right, the next trump card is a big one, leverage. But here's the twist. The book's take is that leverage isn't something you just have. It's something you create, often out of thin air. And how do you do that? Well, you use boldness, a ton of self-promotion, and even what you might call a little bit of theater.
In this slide, this breaks down one of the book's most famous stories on how to do just that. So get this, there's a super important site visit coming up with the Board of Holiday Inns. The problem, the construction site is, well, dead. Nothing's happening. So what's the play? The book details the strategy. Get every single bulldozer and dump truck in the area to show up. Their mission? Not to actually build anything, no. It was just to look busy, literally digging dirt from one spot and dumping it in another over and over. And the result? The book claims the board was visibly awed by all this progress, and the deal got signed.
You know, that whole idea of creating an illusion of progress, that flows perfectly into the next major theme in the book, controlling the narrative. The book argues that having a great deal just isn't enough. If nobody knows about it, or if the public perception is bad, you've already lost. It's all about mastering the media and shaping the story yourself. A fantastic example of this is the story of the Wollman Rink in Central Park. And the book frames this whole conflict by starting right here with this description of the mayor at the time, Ed Koch. It's a really confrontational opening that right away casts the mayor as the main obstacle, the villain in the story.
And the story that gets built from there is all about this incredible contrast. On one side, you have the city. They'd spent over 6 years and $12 million and had nothing to show for it, a total failure. On the other side, you have the private developer who, according to the book, gets it done in under 4 months and, get this, for $750,000 under budget. It's framed as the ultimate story of private sector efficiency versus government bureaucracy.
But wait, the story as it's told in the book doesn't even stop there. The final piece of the narrative, the real PR masterstroke, was that in its first year, the rink turned a profit of nearly $500,000, all of which was donated to charity. This detail is really presented as the final move in a public relations chess game, transforming a simple construction project into a story of civic heroism.
So, we've seen the tactics, we've seen the big stories, but what's the real engine behind this entire playbook? Well, the book boils it all down to one essential state of mind.
And this is it. The book's ultimate argument is that success isn't just about being clever, it's about an obsessive, all-consuming focus. The term it uses is controlled neurosis, the idea of channeling an intense, almost frantic energy directly into your work. This is positioned as the real secret sauce, the personal drive you need to make all the other tactics actually work.
So that's the playbook from The Art of the Deal, a formula written over 3 decades ago. It's a potent mix of massive ambition, theatrical self-promotion, and what it calls a controlled neurosis. Which brings us to our final question. How many of these lessons from 1987 still hold true in the worlds of business, media, and even politics today?